Hi there, I'm Anna Olsen here on A1R Radio Network. My show, Insights into Consciousness, every Tuesday, 1:30 Pacific Standard Time and 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. Today, I am going to talk a little bit about what readings are and how they're gaining in popularity and what my experience is in that. Now, I've noticed recently more people are resorting to readers and mediums or psychics whenever they need some clarity, some validation, or if they're having a really rough time dealing with something. And I can just give you a synapse of what a reading can provide when somebody is dealing with these issues. So when somebody is having a very stressful situation or they're not sure which direction to go in, many times they will contact a reader and ask for help. So basically, it's a really great way to get some support. And someone can be, in a situation of not knowing where to go with their job or not knowing what to do with the relationship, not knowing somebody's next move for a legal or relationship issue. And sometimes it's just they don't know if they should stay where they are, buy or sell a house, or move out of state or out of the city. Those are just a few examples of what a reading can provide clarity on. And usually what I like to focus on when we're doing a reading is that person's best interest and that person's highest and greater good. So instead of just using my own personal training that I've had with a background in psychology, I definitely go into spirit and what their guides and angels say, what that higher information says, the higher intellect. It's my belief that we as human beings are imperfect. We can bring our own baggage into a session with somebody at times. And so really what I like to do is give the person clarity on what I'm getting for them and ask them if that makes sense to them. So when I do dream interpretations as well, because I also do dream interpretation, we are focusing on this same thing. We're looking at what the dream meant, what spirit was trying to tell them from the dream, or if it was just a stress dream, or if it was just their psyche trying to tell them something, which is very common. Sometimes people have stress dreams because they need to process trauma or even just the day before or an issue that's been coming up. So the basis of what I want to say today to you is that the next up and coming support for emotional issues is readers, psychic readers. I guess you could call it intuitive life coaching, which is what I do because I intermix psychology and my experience that I've had with the life coaching training in with the intuitive aspect of it, which also can make it spiritual. So I don't ever, I don't usually sit down with a crystal ball and have a curtain that you come behind and, all this stuff. That's not really my style. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that my approach is different where I tend to collaborate the logic, the spiritual, and the emotional aspects, and then we throw in a little bit of the physical without me giving advice for, medical or legal issues. Just telling the person what I get from spirit and call it for entertainment purposes, and then they can make their own decisions based on that information or go check it out and see if it, as it always does, and see if it really holds merit and weight. So I am happy that the new therapists, and we're not talking about a legal sense of like treating a mental illness, we're talking about helping a person make their own decisions legally, financially, spiritually, in a way of psychic reading, or, I really try to avoid the whole psychic label for a long time, but let's just call it what it is. Let's call a thing. It really is psychic work. These are extrasensory abilities and every person has them. So the other thing I'd like to introduce is like, while the medium psychics are the new therapists and have really helped people gain a lot of closure and working with their energy to process, This is also something that is much more healing when the person does it correctly and on the right vibration. So the right frequency is coming through and you get a reading and the right stuff comes through. This is the goal. It's very important that if you come into a reader, a medium, a psychic, that if they start asking for loads of money and $800 a week to clear your aura or break a spell or something like that, which I've heard a lot of, then you need to not just turn around and walk the other way, you need to turn around and run. I mean, get out of there, get away as fast as you possibly can, and go find a reputable person who isn't trying to scam you. If it feels wrong, if it doesn't seem right, I would like to warn you about staying and continuing a reading. I also would like to warn you that even if it feels right and the person asks you to come back for this, aura cleansing, healing sort of a thing, that you really practice judgment on if this is a scam or not. Because the person could be a nice person, but they still may be very gifted, but in addition, they will, keep wanting you to come back for, I don't know, something that's not totally and completely valid. So be careful of that, really watch out for that. Make sure that you continue to practice your own intuitive discernment, meaning you just really balance it out in your own mind and stop and think, even if you're, having a very vulnerable time in your life, this is why they usually have licensed therapists, because it's very easy to track and manage. They lose their license if they do anything that is not okay or is not in the person's best interest or is anything that's unethical that could harm someone. So that's the way they regulate it. So you have to understand that when you go into a reader or a medium, that first of all, there are risks of knowing things that may be troubling. So I always suggest you go to a licensed therapist. If you have anything emotional or mental, like mental disability or like even a mental illness that you have been dealing with, or just, temporary stress, it's always best to go to a professional, kind of like if you go to a doctor for a broken leg, you're not going to come to a reader for a mental illness or extreme stress. You want to go to a licensed professional who is trained in that field. Not only that, but if you have a medical issue, yes, a reader can give you insight on where to go with your doctor to test for those things. However, it really is up to you to have that treated by people who are specialized in the field. Now, when I do readings, I am specialized in the field of giving you information that you couldn't otherwise have. This comes from a never-ending river of intelligence that encircles the earth. I can draw from it, and it's also from your higher self and your spirit guides and angels. It's also about time being not as linear as people think. It can bend a little bit, and you can sometimes see things. And I practice my own discernment to see if that's something that I usually want to tell people. If your spirit guide says, tell this person this right now, and I am hesitant, I will usually tell you. So that's, there have been some things that I have brought up with people that are very personal, and Spirit told me to do it repeatedly, and I decided to go ahead and bring it up because I trusted Spirit, and it turned out great, helpful. This was something that really needed to be said. So I'm excited that readers are the new, upcoming people to go to for support and for love and for all these things that people may need. That said, please exercise your own intuition and discernment and gut to know that sometimes you really do need to go to a professional for, a therapist, a licensed therapist or psychologist for mental health issues or extreme stress. And you also, panic, anxiety attacks, a lot of that stuff can also be dealt with and managed that way. Just know that if you go to a doctor or a licensed professional, that anytime you take a medication, that it will in fact affect you spiritually in your spiritual gifts, your extrasensory abilities. We even know that there's a whole lot of talk about fluoride affecting the pineal gland in the brain. And I haven't seen any specific studies on that because it's very hard to test or to research. However, I know that if a lot of people all around say, hey, I noticed a difference in my intuition when I started using fluoride, well, okay, you can test that on yourself since we're all different and do your own test. So to test that, I would, you know, maybe if it wasn't fluoride, I don't think I'd ever want to risk my pineal gland being calcified. To be honest, I'll just not use fluoride. I'll use xylitol because it does the same thing without the side effects. It is not rat poison, but never has been used as rat poison. And but on the other hand, you know, it's interesting how you can just test a lot of other things that won't have long-term effects, and you can see for yourself. Do you do better with depression when you are medicated or when you exercise daily? How does that work for you? Can you mix the two? You know, every person is a specific DNA with a specific set of needs. So no two humans are alike. That's why, in addition, no two humans can just be, you know, treated with medications and then forgotten about. So I'm sure some people can do fine with that and with their lifestyle and other, you know, genetic predispositions and things like that. But that's not every person on the planet. So, you know, it's just to your own discernment. We want to get treated or read or, you know, go to therapy with your own discernment and intuition at hand, and practicing that extensively and not just putting your entire life into someone else's hands. You know, it's really good to be proactive. So I want to look at a couple things going on right now with universal consciousness, with my watchers, my listeners. I always like to do a little bit of a universal reading, and I'm just going to pull one card. I have the Queen of Swords. I'm going to pull that up for the viewers who can see it. So the Queen of Swords is a woman by the ocean. She's in a throne. It's a queen, of course, with a crown and a sword. She has lavender on her lap. There are waves around her, and she has a cape on that looks similar to the waves behind her that kind of, you know, that kind of enmeshes into the artwork with the waves. And she has her left hand out, and in her right hand is the sword, and it's going straight up. So the sword going straight up will depict your own power. The hand out depicts what you will be receiving, of course. It all depicts power. So the left hand out depicts power that you get from external sources. The sword in the hand is what you do with that. So whatever you get from others and you utilize it for your use. This depicts clear power. It depicts clear knowing. And I feel like this is claircognizance when we're talking about intuition. I think this woman knows a few things. If you look at the picture, if you're a viewer, you can see that her body language depicts that she's aware. She's actively behaving in her power. So this is, to me, this feels like where we are right now with a lot of things. We have a pandemic. We have people out of work. We have people who had a really tough year with school. There are a lot of things that we've been handed to our objection on a lot of it. And in the interim, we need to all practice self-care. We all need to practice balance, not overdoing it. There are a lot of people that have had issues with substance abuse during the pandemic because these issues kind of became overwhelming. And after being overwhelming, they, you know, they weren't sure what to do. They weren't getting enough rest or sleep. And then they ended up, you know, drinking too much or whatever. So I think it's about having balance right now. And I think it is really about knowing that whatever's going on, you can handle it. Just be balanced. I have Tammy in Quebec on the line that I'm going to do a reading for. I'm going to do a live reading on the air. And I would like to do that now. Tammy, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Tammy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You're doing well?
Yep, I am. Thank you.
Great. So what can I do for you today? What would you like to go over? or what would you like to focus on?
Basically, I guess present and future. Past is gone. So,
Okay, so you'd like to go over past and future?
no, present and future, please.
Oh, present and future. Okay. So,
Yes, please.
okay, great. I'm going to pull a couple of cards for you for present and future. Present, I'm seeing the moon. I have the moon card for you as the present. Now, there's the Page of Wands for the future. So right now, the way that I'm seeing that is the present has a lot of technicalities. So there's a lot of things that may be responsibility, or presently you just have a lot of things to handle that are, your responsibilities. So are you dealing with a lot of taking care of the kids? You have to work. There's like this everyday routine that's happening right now.
Yes, life is busy.
Because I feel like that's just the cycle of the moon. Spirit is telling me that's the cycle. It's like the cycle and the way that time is going to go. It's going to pass. Like right now, I just feel like you're just burning the candle at both ends someday. Some days, not every day, but most days, it's like really tiring.
Yes, absolutely.
And what Spirit wants you to know with the Page of Wands, the way I'm seeing it is that as long as you follow your intuition and your gut on things, in the future, I'm even seeing like within 6 months, you're really going to see a change for the better, meaning things are going to reduce in stress. You're going to be able to feel more carefree and more happy, and you're going to be able to feel like you don't have so much of like the weight on your shoulders, the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Awesome. That would be awesome.
Yeah. I would even give it 6 months to start. I feel like the financial seems to be an issue right now. Is that something you've been worrying a lot about?
Always.
Yeah.
Always, all day, all night.
I'm sorry. So hard. And you know what? You're not alone. There are a lot of people that are dealing with that right now. And right now, today, what you can do today is to imagine how it feels if you were a millionaire. Like, how would that feel? And of course, you wouldn't spend all your money, because even if you're a millionaire, you can spend it all right away. But I mean, like, how does it feel? And what does it, what is the basically the mentality behind feeling, what you would feel like as a millionaire? Bring that into your daily life and imagine that every single day. What would that feel like if you just had millions in the bank and you didn't have to worry about it as much as you do now?
Amazing.
Yeah. You're going to start thinking that way and really feeling like you are deserving, of these millions of dollars. And feel it like as if it's already in your bank account, that you're inviting this energy into your electromagnetic field. And what will happen is your life will start kind of leaning more towards that way. You'll be more open energetically, mentally, physically, in every way, for these things to start coming into your life. And then in the future, I even see in 6 months, there's something that's coming. I want to even say that it is like a monthly amount of money that you would have coming in every month. And it wouldn't be from work. It would be like a passive income where it would just come in automatically.
Nice.
And that would make your life so much easier. Do you have any expectations for to come in monthly?
Honestly, no, I don't.
Okay. Because I do see that is a possibility, and I do see that that's coming, and to look out for that and to utilize it.
Oh, that'd be nice. I'm not one to expect anything. If it comes, it comes. If it happens, it happens. It's meant to be with me.
Right. I do see, and I was just confirming with Spirit, is it going to grow from there? And Spirit says yes, because then I got the Queen of Pentacles. And it's basically you sitting on a throne with this big pentacle. And I'm going to hold it up for the video. There's, the Queen with the pentacle. It's a large pentacle. She's on her throne. She's got, flowers in one hand and the pentacle in the other with the crown on her head. So to me, this feels like Spirit is saying, you worked so hard. Well done. This is what's coming. This is your reward. No good deed goes unrewarded, is what I'm hearing Spirit say. So you must be somebody who serves others quite a bit.
Always. I make sure that everybody comes first, especially my children.
Right. That's what I got there, that you have done so much.
Well, it brings me joy.
Mm-hmm. Right. And
so it brings me joy to make people happy.
Yeah, and that doesn't go unrewarded. So Spirit wants you to know that you can start to really think more about how deserving you are of all of this abundance that's coming to you. That's going to partially be how you're going to start feeling better and relaxing a bit now, because I know 6 months even kind of feels like a long time to wait, but it's going to be in the next 6 months. This will slowly come about. And I do feel like as you go, you're going to just feel lighter and lighter and lighter. So this is good news coming. This is really good news. Have you been doing a lot on your own? Because I feel like there hasn't been a lot of support.
We're going on, I'd say, 7 years.
Oh, wow.
I was married prior. So.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like
it's kind of no choice, but a good choice.
Okay, good. And I feel like you've had a lot of that responsibility on just you. And yeah, you expected that's okay. You expected it. It's not like you didn't expect it, but I do feel like there is
It wasn't a shock.
Okay. Yeah. I do feel though that there's going to be not just a reward, but there's going to also be that you're going to be put in a life situation where you're going to be taken care of more.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. Somebody's going to start taking care of you more. People will start to, really start to care for you, and you can be in a place more where, yes, you're working to keep yourself busy and happy and lively, but I do feel like there's going to be a situation coming up here pretty soon where you're going to be able to be taken care of. It feels to me like society is taking care of our mothers, is the way it feels.
That's very encouraging, actually.
Yes, and Spirit wants you to know that not only is this coming in this life, but in the next life you're going to have it, and in the next life you're going to experience it substantially, where you won't even believe what you get. So you'll actually be asking when you get there someday in the future, way off into the future, you'll be asking, is that all I had to do to get this? Is that all that was required? This is amazing. You're going to be blown away just at how amazing your rewards will be. So it feels to me like for every good thing you've done for other people, magnify that by 100. Multiply that by 100, and that's the way your permanent state will be. And then in this life, yeah, there's going to be not just relief, but like a huge reward. It'll be, all the things you've been looking for. I just feel like you just always have wanted to be happy with your kids and your family. And that's going to be rewarded to you. That's a pure, beautiful wish, and it's not to be taken lightly in the spirit world. That is a very honorable goal, and it's very loving, and so that's the space you will be in. You will be in a very loving space.
Oh, thank God.
I do feel that there's a little bit of this, a little bit more of the difficulties you may have been experiencing with the male. It might be your ex. I mean, you tell me who this male is. I feel like the energy is that he comes up against you.
Yeah, he's my youngest. My youngest, turning 3, her father's an energy sucker. One of those people you're just like, oh.
Okay. So just set your boundaries very well, and you're going to be okay with him. And this is still coming for you no matter what he says. This is still coming for you no matter what he does. He can't stop this reward coming to you.
That's awesome.
Okay, so just remember that.
That is so awesome.
Okay. So I'm sorry, I need to end. I just ran out of time, but you can always reach me for a reading on AnnaOlsenIntuitive.com or Anna Olsen Intuitive on Facebook. It's been great talking to you, though. I wish you the best.
I just made my day, so thank you.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for calling in. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Bye. So this is kind of fun because I know that every time I do a reading, I learn something. I'm not just a teacher. I'm always the student here, and Spirit is constantly teaching me, which I am so grateful for. And this is just more confirmation that no good deed goes unrewarded. I don't like these negative things that come up about doing good things. It is false. There's always a reward. It might not be instantaneously, but it does exist. Energy is energy. It doesn't die out. You put out good energy, you're going to attract good energy. It's science. It's not anything else. Science is saying something negative about doing good things and receiving bad things for doing good things. That's the science. Got to remember that there's always a good reward. So it was really nice seeing all this great stuff coming to her and to Tammy. So I just appreciate all my callers so much for letting me learn from them. And I hope you have a wonderful week. I will see you next week. And that's all for my time today.